The dog's bark cut through the airport like a scream that refused to be ignored. Sharp. Desperate. Different from the trained alerts it had given 1,000 times before. People froze mid-step, rolling suitcases drifting forward as if the world itself hesitated. The police officer gripping the leash felt a chill crawl up his spine, because this wasn't routine. This was fear. This was urgency. And it was aimed at one quiet, pregnant woman standing alone with 2 paper bags in her hands. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of compassion to change lives, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us why humanity still matters. Officer Daniel Hayes had worked airport security for nearly 12 years. He knew crowds, knew stress, knew the difference between danger and misunderstanding. His K-9 partner, Rex, was calm by nature, focused, disciplined, almost gentle unless commanded otherwise. That was why Daniel felt his chest tighten as Rex lunged forward, barking with frantic intensity, muscles rigid, eyes locked on the woman ahead. This wasn't aggression. It was alarm, raw and unfiltered. The woman didn't run. She didn't shout. She stood still, shoulders tense, one hand instinctively resting on her swollen belly as if shielding it from the noise. Her face was pale, drawn, framed by dark glasses that hid eyes already heavy with exhaustion. Around them, travelers backed away, whispers spreading like a ripple across water. Someone muttered about a bomb. Someone else raised a phone to record. Fear grows fast in places like airports. Daniel tried to calm Rex, pulling gently on the leash, issuing the command that always worked. It didn't. The dog barked louder, paws scraping the polished floor, body angled toward the woman as if begging Daniel to understand something he couldn't yet see. Training told Daniel to follow protocol. Instinct told him something was terribly wrong. He approached the woman slowly, heart pounding, scanning her hands, her bags, her posture. The bags were light, grocery store paper, their tops folded over carelessly. No wires. No metal. No smell of explosives. Rex wasn't sniffing the bags anyway. His attention was higher. Focused. On her. The woman's breathing was shallow now, uneven. Sweat beaded at her temples despite the cool air. She swayed almost imperceptibly, weight shifting from one foot to the other. Daniel noticed her knuckles were white around the handles of the bags. Not fear of arrest. Something deeper. Something physical. That was when Rex let out a different sound, not a bark, but a whine, low and aching, and pressed forward again, nose reaching toward the woman's abdomen. Daniel felt the ground shift beneath him. Rex had been trained to detect danger, but also distress. Medical distress. Something they rarely talked about, something that lived in the quiet margins of training manuals. Daniel raised a hand, signaling nearby officers to hold back. He spoke calmly, asking the woman if she was okay, if she needed help. She didn't answer at first. Her lips parted, but no sound came. Then her knees buckled. The bags hit the floor. Apples rolled across the terminal. The woman collapsed, one arm wrapping protectively around her belly as her body folded inward. Gasps erupted around them. Daniel dropped to his knees beside her, calling for medical assistance, his voice steady but urgent. Rex lay down close, pressing his body against hers, whining softly, as if trying to lend her his strength. Time stretched. Seconds felt like minutes. The woman's breathing became erratic, her face contorting in pain and fear. Daniel caught fragments of her whispered words, something about dizziness, about pain that started hours ago, about not wanting to bother anyone. About being alone. Paramedics arrived quickly, pushing through the crowd, radios crackling. They assessed her, exchanged looks that Daniel had seen before and never liked. Serious. Focused. One of them asked how far along she was. The woman struggled to answer. 8 months, maybe more. She hadn't seen a doctor in weeks. As they lifted her onto the stretcher, Rex tried to follow, whining louder now, claws skidding against the floor as Daniel held him back. The dog's eyes never left her face. Daniel felt a knot form in his throat, an unspoken dread settling in his chest. Later, Daniel would learn her name was Emily. She was 26, recently relocated, running from a past that had left her with nothing but a suitcase and fear. The father of the child was gone long before the pregnancy began to show. Her family was estranged. Money was scarce. Pride had kept her silent when she should have asked for help. At the hospital, doctors worked quickly, voices clipped and urgent. Emily had suffered a placental abruption, sudden, severe, and dangerous. The baby was in distress. They rushed her into surgery as consent forms were signed with trembling hands. Daniel sat in the waiting room hours later, Rex at his feet, head resting on his paws. The airport felt a lifetime away. He replayed the moment over and over, wondering what would have happened if Rex hadn't barked. If Emily had boarded her flight. If she had collapsed alone in an airplane bathroom, unnoticed until it was too late. The doctor eventually came out. His expression was careful, measured. Emily was alive, he said. Stable now. The baby had been delivered early. Critical, but alive. The next few days would be uncertain. Relief washed over Daniel so hard it left him dizzy. He knelt beside Rex, burying his face in the dog's fur, whispering thanks that felt inadequate for what had been prevented and what still might be lost. Emily woke hours later in a quiet hospital room, pain dull and heavy, heart aching with fear. A nurse explained what had happened, how close she had come to losing everything. Tears slid silently down her temples, soaking into the pillow. She asked about the dog. The one who wouldn't stop barking. When Daniel visited the next day, uniform replaced by plain clothes, Rex trotting proudly at his side, Emily cried openly. Not from fear this time, but gratitude. She reached out weakly, fingers brushing Rex's head. The dog leaned into her touch, tail thumping softly, eyes warm and gentle. Over the following weeks, Emily recovered slowly. Her baby, a tiny boy with fierce lungs and stubborn will, fought in the neonatal unit. Daniel visited when he could, sometimes bringing coffee, sometimes just sitting quietly, reminding her she wasn't alone anymore. Hospital staff shared the story, shaking their heads in disbelief at how close the call had been. News spread beyond the hospital. People wrote messages, sent donations, offered help. Someone started a small fund to assist Emily once she left. She found herself surrounded by kindness she hadn't believed still existed. And at the center of it all was a police dog who had refused to stay silent. Months later, Emily stood outside the hospital, sunlight warming her face, her son cradled against her chest. He was small, but strong, eyes bright with life. Daniel stood nearby, Rex sitting proudly at his side, tongue lolling, ears alert. Emily's life wasn't magically perfect. Healing took time. Fear lingered. But hope had taken root, stubborn and unyielding. She enrolled in support programs, found steady work, began rebuilding piece by fragile piece. Every milestone her son reached felt like a miracle borrowed from the edge of loss. And Daniel carried the lesson with him back to the airport, back to the crowds and noise and routines. He watched Rex more closely now, trusted that instinct more deeply. Because sometimes danger doesn't look like a threat. Sometimes it looks like silence. Like a woman standing alone, carrying a life she's barely holding together. Before this story ends, we ask you to leave a comment below. Share what this moment meant to you, or who you were thinking of as you listened. Your words matter more than you know. If this story touched your heart, if it made you feel something real, please like the video, share it with someone who needs hope, and engage with the channel. Your support helps keep stories like this alive, reminding the world that compassion can arrive in the most unexpected forms. Because on that ordinary day, in a crowded airport, it wasn't rules or routines that saved a life. It was a dog who barked when no one else noticed, and a moment where someone chose to listen before it was too late.